Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closures.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by David Angel, the founder of Testa, the ultimate sales training academy, a UK-based sales training and business development company focused on helping service-based businesses build effective sales systems for scalable growth. Known as the Sales Angel, David is an international sales strategist and TEDx speaker dedicated to empowering entrepreneurs to increase revenue while reclaiming their time. His mission centers on refining sales processes and training sales teams to achieve rapid, sustainable business success, helping companies grow significantly without burnout. Today's conversation will dive into his proven strategies for building high-performing sales systems and scaling service businesses effectively. With that being said, David, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, brother. Happy to have you here. Awesome. Let's dive straight in. I always love to start at the very beginning. So please go ahead and take us back in time before you even had your company. What were you doing before? What were you up to? And then eventually, what motivated you to start a company?
So if we go really far back, and thanks for having me on, by the way, I wasn't the best at school. I got offered about what do you want to become as a career? And I became a chef. That led into running restaurants, and I worked at places like Harrods and all these places. And I got to the stage of being 21, 22, and I was just sick of it. But I had no qualifications. I had no other experiences. And someone just said to me, why don't you just try sales? Give it a go. And I got into doing door-to-door sales. And that started a career in sales that lasted about 10, 12 years. And that progressed more, and you end up running teams and doing all the other stuff. And things were going great. And then I got to about 2016, and I had a complete breakdown. I'd hit the party lifestyle way too hard, suffered with massive depression, and I ended up losing absolutely everything. So I lost my current businesses, I lost the home, I lost everything. And it sounds really cheesy and really corny, but someone phoned me up and he said, I'm really sorry to hear about everything that's happened. Are you still any good at sales? And at the time I went, I really don't know. And he said, come in to try and help my guys because they're not performing. And so they brought me into the business and we helped them make, I think it was £38,000 in 2 days and basically recovering revenue. And I was like, wow, this felt good. I like this. And from there, everything's gone tenfold.
Yeah, sounds like a hell of a journey. Lots of ups and downs. That's for
Yeah, man.
sure. Awesome.
100%.
Good. David, let's switch to the current business. Now, help our listeners understand who is your ideal customer. And the way I love to put it is this. Tell us who do you help and what do you help them with?
Well, although we work in 19 industries, it's all under the same format, the undercurrent of who we help. So we help businesses that have a product typically over £5,000 that sell over a two-stage process of appointment setting and closing. Typically, that can be service-based businesses. Recently, we've been doing a huge amount within the solar space and all of that type of trade. And the main reason being, they're great business owners, they're really good people, but they have fallen into their trade and haven't necessarily adapted with the times. So what we specialize in doing, one of our programs is called Conversations to Clients. And the goal is to help people have more conversations that convert into clients rather than the horrible sales side of just talking to people and no clients and high frustration and no money. So our ideal customers are people that actually understand that there's a better way and they just have tried it their own way and they've just not managed to get all the pieces together. The analogy we talk to people about is it's a bit like having a Formula One racing team. We work on the vehicle and we work on the driver. And a lot of people have tried building their own car and putting it around the track with never learning how to drive. And what we do is rather than just do sales training or just build out systems, we'll go into a business, we look at the existing vehicle, we adjust everything that needs to happen to get it to optimal, and then we train them to be the best driver they can and then replace themselves within that process. So a lot of it is founder-led organizations, solar companies, plumbers, flooring, heating, companies, even through to areas like recruitment, coaches, consultants, and experts. Anyone that really goes, we can sell this, we can sell better, and I want to get out of a process, but they've got no idea on how to do it.
I love that. I love that. Pretty similar to what we do, actually. So I love it. Awesome. Now, help us understand what it looks like to actually work with you. Is it a certain amount of time that they spend with you, or is it a monthly recruiting event, or how does that look
So
like?
I'm focused on results over time. And I think we live in probably one of the greatest times ever to be alive, to be able to build things great and fast. I think it used to always be that great things took a long time, the pyramids and all this other stuff. Where
Yeah.
actually we live in a time now where if you know which keys to turn and which cogs to turn, you can get really impactful. So when we look at what we actually do, we want to meet a business, go back to that same analogy of where they are now, and dependent on where they are now, depends on what they need help with. So our programs, rather than just putting people, and we do have a group program, but our primary program, Conversations to Clients, was designed to meet a business where it is, find the flaws that they've got now, and find fast recovering. I'll give you a prime example. One of our first parts of our program is our revenue recovery. And what we do in that process is go, okay, what's your current pipeline? What are the deals you've missed? How many quotes have you got out there you've tried? What have you done? How was your approach? And we look at that and we build almost an emergency life raft plan that within that 48-hour window of starting with us, they have an actual actionable plan to re-engage their old leads. I had a guy who was on my Instagram the other day. After spending an hour, he's gone off and generated £65,000. Now, that's a business that was only doing £30,000 a month. And a lot of people don't
Mhm.
realize that they've got that money in their business. And the reason we selfishly do it is we also know when people come to us, they're a bit injured, they're a bit wounded, their confidence is low, excuse me, their stress is high, their belief is low. So the quicker we can get some fast acting wins within their business, one, it covers the cost of our program. Two, it gets them to actually be more effective in the mind game as well as actually what they're actioning. So then our program is tailored after that stage around it. We build out their system, we'll build out their automations. We do all the stuff on the car that needs to work whilst working with them. And where mine's a bit different to most, we very much focus on the one-to-one access they get to me. So all my clients have direct access to me on the phone. We meet each week and then we have a plan for 6 months on how we actually help them get to their sort of set goal they want to be. For most businesses, it's getting an appointment setter, it's getting a closer, it's getting their time back and getting to make more money.
Absolutely. I love that. All right, David, let's switch to the backend side of the business for a second. Now, what does a company like yours do from marketing slash lead generation standpoint? How do you bring in new clients?
It varies for us at the moment because we're not trying to scale out to the billions of pounds. I have something called my Samuel L. Jackson theory. And remember Samuel L. Jackson, the actor? He's one of the coolest guys on the planet. But he was cool because he didn't tell us he was cool. And so what we do is for a lot of our marketing that comes organically, I post a lot of live sales calls. And the main reason we do that is the people that hate the way I sell should never and will never get in touch. So we only get people that come in, and the way we look at it is, if I quit my job today and worked in your business, would you make more money? And if the answer is yes, do you believe that skills are teachable? And if that answer is yes, would you like us to teach you to sell in the same way that you just saw me sell? And so our strategy is very much around that. So utilizing social media has always been very good. TikTok, Instagram, and without having a big following works really well. And I think we're very fortunate because we have such a high level of social proof that people that follow us will see a lot of that content consistently. And they're used to seeing that guy was making 10K, now he's at 50. This guy was on his own, now he's got a team. And this is how. So people are consistently seeing all of that for us. So we have a bit of an omnipresence. We're now running some ads because we're taking the business to the next stage. But it works so effectively for what we're trying to do because people sit on the sidelines, they'll watch us for a few months. We give a lot of content, we give a lot of free help, we give a lot of free sales training. And then it gives them the ability to go, okay, this guy's going to make us more money. And we become, if you want, for want of a better word, the safe bet for them. They believe that we actually do care. We are going to show up. They're consistently seeing the results. And that combined with, excuse me, That combined with you've seen me make live sales calls and you go, okay, I also know he's not full of crap and he can actually sell. It just makes it so much easier for them to buy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a little bit paradoxical, but looking at your company and the stage where you guys can find yourself in right now, have you already built like your own internal sales team, or would you say that you're still taking the majority of the calls yourself?
No, so I've got appointments. So I'm at the stage at the moment. I've just had a really nice summer where I've worked 4 days a week and been working 6 hours a day. We've got a small team. When we built the way the structure is, I build it to be front facing because I really enjoy this. If I win 100 million on the lottery tomorrow, I'm still doing the same coaching calls I do now. I'll just maybe be in the Maldives or be traveling more. But everything's built now that I can just do things as we want. So we've got a great guy who sits on the calls for appointment setting. We've got a great guy that actually does the enrollment. We're taking on someone now for a client success manager. And then we've got back end people that help with logistics to do it. So it means that I can be quite picky and choosy about what to do, but also I still enjoy being on calls. So I get to jump in if, for example, my guy's off for a couple of days and I get the opportunity to jump in. I still get a real kick from taking someone who's injured. I always say it's a bit like a nurse, right? Who likes to go around and help someone get the splint and put the bandage on and send them on their way, or a dentist that gets rid of the toothache and seeing them leave without the pain. I still get a kick from making those calls. And I think when you're in that stage, it doesn't necessarily feel like work. It is work, but it's definitely not digging holes in the ground or putting scaffolding up or anything that's hard. It's so enjoyable that it just feels like fun more than anything else.
Definitely. Awesome. David, if you think about what's about to come, you have your teams in place, everything seems to be working just fine. What would you say, from the perspective of your company scaling even further, what would you say is the biggest challenge to making that happen?
I don't necessarily think it's a challenge anymore because the way the business is set up, it's set up at the stage now that if I, for example, if I wanted to 5x my ad spend and put more appointment setters in and put more closers in and then take that out to the stage of being a group coaching program, we can do that. I've got an online academy. We've got everything built out. We've got every system and process we could possibly need. I actually don't want to. I'm at the stage now that we're going from where we are now up to that next stage. And that will mean for us to do it. Where I bounce around capacity of one-to-one, it means that for us to do that, it goes into a group and we're moving into everything set, ready to go. I just don't really push that next stage because I do think for a lot of the clients that work with us, one of the key things that makes a difference for them is actually the time they get with me. They actually get to sit on that call. And it's not, we work on three main pillars of mindset, skill set, and habits. And we can help people with the skills. We can build out all their habits. We can help them do that. But for a lot of people, having the confidence to go all in on their business is one of the hardest things that they face. And having someone on the end of a phone, and that's capped. I don't have groups. I won't have WhatsApp chats with 50 different staff members. It's one person within a company. And that has such an impact within a business. But if someone says to me now, you can 5x your money, we go, yeah, I know I can. But I've got a life where I paddleboard outside of my house 4 days a week. The house now is being set up for having in person for clients. They'll come here. I have more than enough holidays. I've got a life that if I won 100 million on the lottery tomorrow, the toys would get fancier, but my life wouldn't necessarily change. It's not an equal amount of jump. And so it's such a great place to be. And it's one of the reasons I feel that things like sales is such a good industry because you can really build a life that you want around what you're actually trying to achieve rather than a lot of businesses, a lot of industries, you have to mold into that industry. Where I say sales, saying sales is like saying sports. You've got inbound, outbound, B2C, B2B, you've got high ticket, low ticket, you've got enterprise, you've got all this different stuff. So based on your personality and what you want to have, you can mold that around it and then you can build a team to do the things either you're not good at or you don't want to. And for me now, we could launch a group program tomorrow, funnel ads into it, build a team of 10 setters, have 5 closers, turn it to 300 grand a month. But I know then I would be pushing pens and papers and talking to hierarchy, wouldn't be taught. I'd have clients that I would meet in the street and they'd be like, oh, I'm in your program. And I wouldn't know who they are. And I'm not a massive fan on that at the moment. It will happen, but I'm not at the stage where I want that. I want it to be where I still get the phone call from clients going, I just took my family on holiday for the first time in 3 years because I've got the space out of my business. And being able to do that has so much selfishly in my soul, but it really makes me tick still, which is great.
This is such a good perspective to have, David. I absolutely love that for you. And I absolutely love the fact that you are in this kind of position. I'm definitely going to be your biggest fan and hope that it only continues to get better and better. Now, I do have two last questions for you. So we're going to do a little lightning round.
Yeah, man.
First one of those, is there a piece of technology that you implemented in your company internally and you could call it a game changer?
I think everyone out there now has access to all the technology. I think one of the most simple ones is Otter AI, the transcription app. And just because where it bolts into everything we do, it listens to every conversation, it summarizes it as well. But I think with the advances in technology, I don't think it's necessarily about what tool you've got, it's how effective we are in one tool. And I think for a lot of people now, everyone's, oh, I use ChatGPT, which is like saying I've been in sales. There's so many variables behind it. And I think it's what we get out of each one. And do you know what I find now? Let's look at ChatGPT for a second. ChatGPT is a fantastic tool if you use it in a way that's the most effective it can be. And I think for a lot of people, they're so eager to tell everyone we're using ChatGPT, they're not using it effectively. So when we built out the business I go on now, I'll say I'm trying to lose another 10 kilos. I've lost 15. So part of my job now is when a new client onboards, they get a know your client form, prime example. I then go for a walk with their know your client and I talk to the audio version of ChatGPT for an hour. So I do an hour's work for a client where I am just walking, looking at the sunset next to the beach, talking to ChatGPT for an hour based on a know your client form. And could we do this and could we do that? And this client did that. Do you remember when we had this before? I then go for a shower when I get home. And by the time I come back to my computer, ChatGPT has took everything I've put, broke it down into an organized process. And there's never been a time in life where you can be that effective for your clients and have a great life as well. It would have previously been sitting up until 4 a.m. to handwrite that out or get it to dictaphone to send it to a VA to send it off. And to have now where you can have the greatest of lives that people will envy combined with working less and making more and your clients get better out of it. There's never been a better time. And I think for ChatGPT, Otter AI, Fathom, and about 100 apps, if everyone just spent an hour on the apps they use now and said, how can I use this more effectively to make my life better and my clients' life better? I think every app out there is good for that. So I don't really think there's a set one.
Absolutely.
For me, it's about how it incorporates in my life.
This is how you do it. I love that. Good. David, I do have one last question. This is actually one of my favorite questions ever.
Yes,
As you might already know, there is a lot of people that listen to these podcasts and they're in sales because of who we are. So if you could magically snap your fingers and sit across the table from yourself, but this would be yourself from years ago, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
I'll give two if I can. First one,
Go for it.
simply stay in the pocket for 10 minutes after every objection. Learn to be competent of just talking, having a conversation back and forth for 10 minutes after any objection. The scripts are good, objection handling's good, one-liners are good, blah, blah, all that stuff's good. But if you can just have an engaging conversation with someone after a hurdle for 10 minutes, 90% of your battles go. And I used to be very, get an objection, handle it, lead it, close it. If you can just carry on the conversation, I say every time we open our mouths, we are either increasing or reducing resistance, or we are increasing and reducing flow. And people are smart now. And when you get into sales, you get taught reframe, isolate, qualify, what all that. And that does work. But if you can just keep the momentum of a conversation, keeping the flow up and the resistance low, you'll win more sales than you'll probably lose. And that's one of the hardest things I think it took me a long time to learn. I think that's one area that makes a difference. My second bit of advice is think of yourself like a ninja. It's very easy. If say you're the strongest guy, the best fighter in your group, and you start walking around feeling that you're a black belt, whatever stage you're at, imagine for a moment where I am right now. Imagine if I'm only a white belt. and imagine all the belts that are above me now. If I'm blown away at my ability right now, imagine if I was right now actually just a white belt. All that other learning that would be out there, we would approach every situation, every conversation, every interaction far differently than we do right now. And I think in sales, a lot of salespeople get into it and they never thought they'd make £100,000 a year when they're at school. They get into sales, they make 100,000, and they go, "Oh my God, this is amazing, I've conquered it." And they forget that there's all this other stuff that you could actually achieve. We just achieved more than we were told we ever would. And then so we forget and we almost become like a flea trainer. Have you ever seen the flea training analogies? What we used to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we almost put a cap on our own growth because we achieved more than we thought we would. And instead of going, "My God, I've done this, what else can I do?" We go, "My God, I've done this. This is great." Put our feet up, work less, get a Lambo, and just tell everyone on social media we're amazing. So that's the other lesson.
This is pretty common occurrence for salespeople.
Yeah. But
agree.
I genuinely believe it's because most people that end up great in sales grew up being told they will never amount to anything. And so because materialistically they have a Rolex, they have a good car, they live in a good penthouse, they eat at great restaurants, they start going, "I've conquered it." And they start giving everyone else advice. And they stop taking advice. They stop looking for the small changes. Where if you look at someone like Jordan and LeBron or Messi, they're still out working as hard on their game to maintain and get that extra little bit, that horse's nose difference. And in sales, once we get top of the board, we don't think who's top of the industry. We start going, in my little pond, I'm the big fish. And actually, the people that really succeed in this, they just keep moving forward. They go back to white belt mentality, and they just start to cross forward. And I think it's the best thing we can do.
This is such a good advice, but most of the time, ego is a very huge enemy when it comes to this, and it takes time to actually admit it to yourself. But you're absolutely right. Stay grounded and keep on grinding and growing and learning from everybody else. I love that. I think this pretty much wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. So, David, a huge thank you for taking the time and sharing your story with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. If somebody wanted to reach out to you or connect with you, maybe even work with you, what's the best way to go about that?
We make it super simple. You can just go to clients.com, where you can see what we do. Or you can just go to becomeyourpotential.info. And we've made it easy. And this is why our conversions are so high. We've just put a 10-minute work with me video there that shows you what we do, gives you a blueprint on you don't even need to hire us, go and do this without us. And if you watch that and you want to get in touch, book a call, have a chat with the team. And again, my big thing is if we don't feel we can help if we don't think we can help or we are the best help for you now, we will introduce you to someone else. And we've actually built partnerships up with other people now where we refer people out so that if you end up on a call with us, you will either get the help from us that you need or you'll get put in the right place to get the help. So either way, you'll end up getting the help you need.
Awesome. Amazing. So just to recap, it's conversations2clients.com. So visit, reach out to David, get in touch and see if you can get the help you need. Amazing. For our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, be sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And if you're a business owner, more specifically a coach, consultant, or an agency owner, and you're looking to scale your company and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and see how exactly we went from 0 to over 30 million a year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing, and I'll see you on the next one.